En 1936, l'empereur Haile Selassie d'Éthiopie, à la tribune de la Société des Nations, dénonce l'abandon de son peuple après l'agression de l'Italie fasciste.
So, welcome in Lausanne. Thanks to be here. And we have prepared some questions. Maybe the first one, most important is, who is Haile Selassie and why all this spirituality? Why is the Rastafari?
It's the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the conquering Lion of the tribe of Judah. Biblically, it means the second coming of the Christ. So there's much more about it than it's all only written in the Bible. When you read the Bible, you will find him throughout the whole Bible. What shows that he's more than the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. He's the God of all nations and the creator of the whole universe. So that makes I know about who is God and King. It's only the one who I said, Haile Selassie the first, Jah, Rastafari.
Give thanks unto the King of Kings, Haile Selassie, Jana Amlak Hoye. Give thanks unto you also, because your presence is precious unto the eyes of Jah and to my eyes also. I don't want to speak about His Majesty according to my own side and perspective, my own particular side, because this will appear as singular, individual and not universal, while the kingdom is universal and is something universally tangible. I want to speak about Haile Selassie as center of history according to the history of the white man, because he has been recognized as the most honored and decorated man of the earth. He's the one who has a number of medals and honorary degrees, so that he overcomes all the other men in history. And that is not something we can discuss. It is a matter of fact. So I should recognize that the Western nation in 1930, when the king was crowned, went there in the Black Africa, who was under colonial rule, and the white colonial powers went there to bow, to recognize that he was the King of Kings and Lord of Lords in conquering Lion of the tribe of Judah. And it was the first time the white man recognized a black king.
The emperor took his place on the throne. Thereupon the ceremony began. The Coptic Archbishop of Ethiopia, representing His Holiness the Pope of Alexandria, with his throaty voice, announced,
"Ye princes and ministers, ye nobles and chiefs of the army,
Ye professors and priests, ye people of Ethiopia, look ye upon our Emperor Haile Selassie I, descended from the dynasty of Menelik I, who was born of Solomon and the Queen of Sheba, a dynasty perpetuated without interruption from that time to King Haile Selassie and to our time.
And no matter the rumors that spread, said it was written before they were born, before they were born. In the revelation, that these are they that pass to great tribulation, great tribulation. And no matter those great tribulations and those great frustrations, I will have to stand up firm and strong, firm and strong. For it really was written in the revelation, that these are they that pass through great tribulation, great tribulation. And no matter what they say or do, and no matter the rumors that spread.
In a time when black was considered inferior racially, like an animal. So that is the starting point of a movement of civil rights and freedom and liberation for Africa and for the world conscience. That's why simply I invite all the world to revisit Qadamawi Haile Selassie and to revisit also the role of Ethiopia in our lives. Because according to the white man's science, Ethiopia is the first cradle of humanity.
Maybe a question about a Rastaman. What is a Rastaman?
First of all, I have to say Rastafarians are individuals. So when I speak about Rastafari, this is my point of view, my personal being, and I cannot speak for other brethren to say this is what a Rastaman must be about. Surely there are few ways to go to be a Rasta, but it doesn't mean, for example, when you eat meat, that you cannot be a Rastafarian. But for me personal, it means to be a Rasta, to be in love with the whole creation. It means to me also to be pure in heart, to be honest, respectful to all living thing, and to live a upright, to live a clean life. And for me also to don't drink alcohol, I don't eat any dairy products or meat, because for me it's what I put in my mouth stays in I-shens temple. And when I would eat meat, this is a death energy that I put in my temple, and somehow it will come out of it again. So this is why I don't want to deal with it, because the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. Why shall I kill when I want to have hands to cultivate food? And the food from the soil will feed me so well that I live strong like a lion. And for me also, a Rastaman should give thanks and praises eternally to His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I, Jah, Rastafari.
Forgive them, Jaja, oh forgive them, for they know not what they have done. They have robbed those, they have robbed those.
The word Rastaman keeps the secret of its identity. It's not a trivial word. It's not a simple word. It's full of history. Because Ras, it means head in ancient Ethiopic, and Teferi is the name of Haile Selassie also, meaning dreadful. All these things are full of sense we could elaborate about, but the most important matter is that everything is centralized on the teaching and the power of Haile Selassie, that we follow as our first example, as the fulfillment of the ancient word, prophetic tradition. To be Rastat means to recognize all the prophets of the history, starting from Adam, and it means to recognize that all this ancient tradition, this biblical, scriptural tradition, aims to Haile Selassie as his natural crown. So with Haile Selassie we get the royal chapter of Revelation, and Rastaman is the one who lives in his own flesh the gift of royalty. That means to know how to rule ourselves, our being, our body, to establish discipline in ourselves, and to be proud of our heritage too. A Rastaman is a lion, is an image of rightful power.
Before you talk about the temple, so a lot of different spiritualities have house specifically to praise their God, and you say, if I understand, your temple is your body. Can you talk about that?
Sure. The temple where the Most High is living in is the human being, and the soul that came into the temple is God. So this is why we call I, because God lives in I, in the temple that is the second I. And we don't need the church to go to worship God, because we know that God is living in ourselves. It's just a matter of to recognize it and to understand that we don't have to seek God in the church, and the church is just a place what was built by the hand of slaves, and why we should go there and worship a God what we won't see. This is the simple explanation of the living temple, of the temple of the Most High, Rastafari.
The people of the West generally associate the concept of holiness and sacrality to the spirit only, while a basic foundation of our faith and our knowledge and science is the importance of bodily word and flesh as a part of the life of creation. So to recognize our body as a temple, it means to recognize the sacred value of our actual life, on our material life also, that we have to rule according to the wisdom of the spirit. And the royalty of Kadamawi Haile Selassie is also this power who comes to earth, the power to rule the flesh without sin and without scandal and without paranoia. It is the time to recognize the royalty, the sacrality of flesh, and to rule it according to the righteous wisdom, to sanctify it like a temple.
Now is the black man time. Now is the black man.
What are the aims of Rasta? What he wants for his future?
I couldn't say that I want. I would love to see all my brothers and sisters to live in peace, love, and unity. But my personal needs and deeds are not important. It's more that we should come together and forget about war and discrimination and all these things, you know? Because as a Rasta, you should deal with love first and forget all about hate and, as I said, discrimination, disrespect. Because this is not something what helps I to bring the brothers and sisters together to live in one perfect love.
One of the teachings of His Majesty is that the kingdom belongs to all, while religion belongs to the individual only. So the kingdom chapter of the relation of Jah is also the universal time of reconciliation of all the differences, the cultural, racial, religious, social differences of humanity. Haile Selassie indicates for I the starting point of humanity, the center of the kingdom in Ethiopia. And the starting point is also the rallying point of the whole society of all tribes and languages. That is the meaning also of the prophecy. Every knee shall bow, every tongue shall confess, every tongue. So we want to establish this one love according to the precepts of the Emperor, to rally around the flag of Ethiopia, that is a rainbow of plurality, and reason in honest dialogue with our brethren of all creeds, of all races, of all tribes, to understand better our history in peace. We want that persuasion and word and honest dialogue prevail over violence. Rastaman is a peaceful man, but this is also a culture, a warrior culture, because he is also the man who knows how to establish peace in power.
So many poor people on the street wake up in the morning.
Why Ethiopia is so important for the Rastaman?
Ethiopia is important for Rastafarians because this is the place where the Garden Eden is and was. You can even read it in the Bible now. And Ethiopia is the land where the Ark of the Covenant lies. And this land can never be conquered. When you look in history, Ethiopia was the only land in Africa who was never conquered by colonialism. the Italians, they tried to very hard, but they failed. So they just tried, but they could never conquer. And I know it's because this land is protected by the Most High, as it is written in the Bible. The Ark of the Covenant lies there, so nobody can conquer Ethiopia. Haile Selassie was born in Ethiopia and is shining his light there. And it is the promised land for all Rastafarians. Haile Selassie gave Rastafarians the possibility to return back to Africa, to Shashamane, the land where he has given to Rastafarians to go there, to live there. And this is some of the points why Ethiopia is very important for Rastafarians.
Ethiopia is the origin, as I told, of everything. It's the origin of the race, as it is written in the Bible, in the first chapters of the Genesis. It's the beginning in the wisdom, because even the Greek philosophers claimed to gain knowledge from Ethiopia. Is the origin of the redemption of the Western society from the evilness, the evil disease of colonialism, imperialism, and slavery. Ethiopia is important because it is an unbroken tradition starting from the most ancient time, always free to express herself without stranger rule and stranger pollution. So there we find the origin of culture also, and the purity of the original African culture we need to know ourselves. If we want to go somewhere, we have to know where we come from first. That is really essential. That's why Ethiopia is really essential.
So what are the links between the Ethiopian church and Rasta?
It's as my brethren said, the ancient traditions of Ethiopia, they've never changed. It's thousands of years. And compared to Western society, they went to Ethiopia to take something they don't understand and use it as a weapon, downpress people for their own needs. And for the Rastafarians, it's important to see that the church in Ethiopia, they worship God in a very ancient tradition way. So some Rastafarians take the Orthodox Ethiopian way more serious or see more importance in it as others. For me personal, I never went to an Orthodox Ethiopian church because, as I said, I don't need a church to go and worship God. For me, there are other things more important, but I respect the Orthodox Ethiopian church to the fullness. This is my point of view.
When we look at the history of Haile Selassie, we see that he was crowned in a church, in Qedus Georgis Beta Christian, in particular the Church of St. George in Addis Ababa. The mystery of his royalty come from a church then, because we are talking about the ancient continuity. We are not talking about a movement that appears suddenly without reason, but something that is natural, naturally grounded in the ground of history. It is the continuity of all the prophetical movement, starting from the first point, starting from the first creation. We see the same in the Gospel of Jesus Christ when he went to preach. When he was very, very young, 12 years, he went to preach to the doctors in Jerusalem, to the Hebrew doctors of the law, because the science of Christ is the fulfillment of the science of the Israelites and the Hebrew people. So the science of Haile Selassie in his revelation is the crown of the teaching of the Christian church and the Christian tradition in Ethiopia. And he has come not to change our holy history, but to fulfill it in continuity without losing anything in culture, in power, in love. So we see His Majesty as the completement of the ancient tradition, and he taught us about the sacrality, the churchical sacrality of our fleshical life also. The teaching of His Majesty is not against the teaching of the Church and the H.I.ms, but is the time when the spirit of the Church establishes his rule over the whole material world, and everything is sanctified. Everything is sanctified. So is the universal point of that church culture. And we see the first coming of Christ and the second coming of Christ as an indivisible one, like Alpha and Omega, who create an eternal and powerful circle of tradition and teaching and vision to purify and to rule and to order the whole reality and the whole humanity.
You said love and respect are a central point in Rasta. So in Jamaica there is some movement of Rasta like the Bobo Ashanti who don't like gay, they are not very open. And what do you think about that?
First of all, I would like to say big respect to all the Bobo brethren.
Big respect.
Because there's a whole heap of confusion going around the world through these musicians who dress themselves as a Bobo dread. A Bobo will never be allowed to jump on a stage and teach foolishness. This is one very important point. And even some wannabe Bobo brethren, they come and say white man is not acceptable because he is the devil in flesh. But even you, my brethren, when you go Pulbe in the camp of the Bobo brethren, you will be a royal visitor to them and will be well respected. So how can you say such foolishness when you are welcome in their camp? So this is the confusion what I recognize is going all over this world. And this thing with gay and Rastafarians, it's not only Rastafarians who see there's going something unnatural when a man lays with a man like he should with a woman, because it is not natural. And even the Bible speaks of it, that this is opinion to the Lord. They don't respect the creation. It's like a sickness, but we send spiritual fire unto wickedness, not physical violence to other people. This is also a point that needs to be overstood. Because when we say we don't like this or we don't like that, it doesn't mean that we're going out to hurt people. We're trying to lead the people on a certain way to live a pure life. And for we, it's not acceptable to be gay and pollute the human beings and try to put them in an illusion and in a confusion more and more, because this got nothing to do with a pure life. This is my personal opinion about it, and maybe Aborigines, Rastafarian Aborigines and sisters would agree with me. Rastafari.
You say that to be gay is not natural, but in the nature, some animals are gay. So, what do you think?
I would like to tell something about Bobo Shanti order first. The common opinion about is really polluted, and Bobo Shanti order is an honorable order that has been recognized also by His Majesty when he visited Jamaica, and it is a kind of monastic order where the people devoted themselves totally unto the glorification of the King, so we must give the utmost respect unto this reality. There are a lot of people who decide to communicate certain truth and mysteries in a way that is not diplomatical, that is could appear violent sometimes. And of course, I don't want to judge anyone, but I prefer to be more rational in this. And of course, we should avoid any form of judgment, private judgment of the people. We should avoid any kind of aggressivity towards our brethren and sisters. So we are not talking about the eradication of this and that category, but we have a moral tradition about sexuality that we have to consider, and it provides an alpha and omega system to relate each other in love. And homosexuality, as other forms of sexuality, doesn't fit this order, and this kind of sexual standard cannot generate life. So that is the concept of nature, that when we say matrimony, we say the Latin word mater, that means mother. So how can exist a matrimony if there's no mother? It is just something of rational. We have to understand and meditate. But this doesn't mean that I want to inquire the private matters of the people. Just that it is good that we recognize that our society is founded upon that kind of familiar life standard, and it cannot be changed by nature. You say that there are animals in nature who are homosexual. True. We find in nature animals who are killers, who are killers of children, who are thieves, but this doesn't affect the moral responsibility of man. In our tradition, we say that in the beginning, even the beasts, they didn't kill each other and didn't eat meat. And they started to kill when man started to kill, influenced by man. So if we want to restore the ancient original piece of the Garden of Eden, Gannet Edom we say in Ethiopia, as Rastafari promised to do through I, so we have to avoid to create bad vibration in the earth and to purify all the sins we have disseminated everywhere. So this is our direction.
We talked before about Bobo Ashanti. You say that most of them are good, but some come on a stage and say foolishness, and they are reggae man. So what is the importance of music and reggae for the Rasta?
There's different point of views. As we were speaking before about the Bobo Bridges, the only way of music is in a ceremony, and this music is all about give thanks and praises unto the Most High. Same way for the Nyabinghi Bridges, they play music in a ceremony to give thanks and praise unto the Most High. And reggae music is a kind of a business, and there's different ways to go, what kind of music or lyrics you're playing. Some playing reggae music with no positive lyrics, and for me this is not meditation music. And some surely they play wonderful tunes, even I love to listen to them, but we should all be conscious about the heartbeat. The heartbeat is the first beat. It's, as I said, heartbeat. And this is the original Rastafarian music. And I would love to see more and more we come together and play Nyabinghi and give thanks and praise unto the Most High. Haile Selassie the first. Jah Rastafari.
I would like to meditate about the word as always. Reggae come from regal, so it is something tied to the celebration of the king from the beginning, and it is the vibrational expression of the presence of the king in the earth. The name of the king is the most celebrated, the most praised and worst sound and power in the earth, and sound system and concerts and music and poetry. That is a reality. His name is making the foundation of the earth tremble. So reggae music is a power of redemption for the people of the street of Babylon, for the people of the world, for the young generation, without symbols, without good direction, without guidance. And it is the trumpet of God according to the scriptures and the prophecies, which announces the royalty of the King over the earth.
He will buy you time on the ring. He will give you anything. He will give you the moon and the stars above. But all I have.
Some people say that Bob Marley is a prophet. What do you think about him?
In his modern time, he's like, as you say, a prophet, because his music went all over the world, and his songs are not only songs about something that makes you jump up and down, it's like something that you can meditate about it. And he obviously sings about Rastafarian faith and about His Imperial Majesty. So this seems to me that he comes like a prophet in this world to spread the words in his music all over the world, to tell us what is Rastafari about. And when you catch this message, you want to know more about Haile Selassie. So he seems to me as a prophet from this time, not from the ancient time for sure, but for this time.
You call him Bob Marley. Indeed, he should be recognized with another name, that is Haile Selassie. This is the baptismal name of Bob Marley he took before he died. And it means the light of the Trinity. And the Trinity is Selassie. So the light is related to revelation and to the spreading of revelation over the earth. And his role in history, without doubt, as one of the most important musicians of the modern times, is strictly related to the glorification of the King. He announced the King every way. In every city he went, in every occasion he had, he preached the King and the power of the King. And if you meditate the words and the vibration of our father Bob Marley, you see the depth of his levity, and you see a life completely devoted to the King. Is an example, a very important example of African redemption and rise, because it started from ghetto, and through the power of His Majesty, he reached the rich stage of his life, of his power, overcoming the whole hard colonial heritage he had within his own blood. So it is an example of self-realization and freedom. It is the resonance of the prophet Joseph. And Bob Marley said this: I belong to the tribe of Joseph, and I follow the path of Joseph, who was sold, slave, and who returned to the land of Israel in royalty and power from Egypt. So Haile Selassie set our musical artistical tradition as an example of spiritual Rastafari art, and we have to listen and meditate carefully his teachings, because he is father for the Rasta people in the West. His father, preacher of Rasta faith and liberty in the West.
Say we return within 2,000 years. Now we check out the time. This time is 1,979 years gone. Say when I'm return a new name, we shall be dreadful and terrible among the heathen. And when him come, he shall be the King of kings, the Lord of lords, and the conqueror in the land of the tribe of Judah. In our lifetime, we look out on the earth to see who come with these names. One man we find His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I, who is the King of kings, the Lord, and the conqueror in the land of the tribe of Judah. No, the Bible, you know. The Bible is our route that we take, the Bible. Why? Because God said He shall put it in the hearts to write it. Well, today the Bible reveals that His Majesty is the conqueror in the land of the tribe of Judah, King of kings, the Lords of lords, just like the Revelation in the Bible, you know. with proof. So His Majesty is the reality.
Church in Florida and that in Jamaica. And there is another Orthodox church in Los Angeles. What kind of relation it has with the whole Rasta movement?
Well, Ethiopian Orthodox Church. There's an Ethiopian Orthodox Church in Miami.
Yeah.
That is not an
Tampa.
Ethiopian Orthodox.
There's one in Florida.
Zion Coptic.
Ethiopian. There is an Ethiopian Orthodox there.
Well, all Ethiopian, dig this, all Ethiopian Orthodox will deal with this from Ethiopia. It's Rasta. See, if it's a different thing, like Zion Coptic, we're not really a deal with nothing. It's not Rasta that.
We love the Ethiopian. All the Ethiopian, they identify with Rasta.
That is set up by His Majesty. That is the Abraham house. That is the house where you ever hear about the house of the man built. Every day them sing a song. The house that Jack built.
This is the house that Jack built. The Ark of the Covenant. They're supposed to be possessed by the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. The Ark of the Covenant. And the 10 Commandments.
Yeah,
the tablets.
His Majesty the Christ and the God and the return, you know. So hear me now, I'm telling you something now. Look on the earth today, you have three things in front of you. You have America, you have Russia, and you have Rasta. It's easy as that. That's what you have, really.
So it's in all people's movements.
That's what you have.
All people.
You can check it from long time. You find when Pope Paul sent Mussolini go attack Ethiopia. You will find out how today how the famine come, why no one ever try help the black people. Because it's not His Majesty, they make them all help, you know. You realize when His Majesty in Ethiopia, if Russia would feed the Ethiopian them, America they help feed them, how would His Majesty them feed them? Would be the people. So what I'm trying to show up His Majesty in some propaganda style and show the people a different side of the propaganda so everyone say, yeah, which is not true. Because today you only have three. Russia, America, and Ethiopia, which is Rasta. Black people have something. This is, where you're going to be? You're going to be a Marx and Lenin? I tell you that is German or Russia. You're going to be a capitalist, I'm going to tell you that is America, the European whiteness. If you're an African, then you must be a Rasta, the new name. Christ him shall return a new name. Same new name is Rasta, not that just as we say, him new name is.
Before we talk about Bobo Ashanti, and there is some different movement in Rastafari, 12 tribes of Israel and other one. Why and what can you say about that?
There are different tribes. They have different philosophies or different point of views, and I think it makes it more easy to live together when you share the same opinion than when you always have to reason about, we see this point more important or we see this point more important. That makes it more easy when you separate and be together in one unity and one perfect love instead of fussing and fighting about certain points of the Bible or certain points of the liberty. And for this reason I think it's good that we have different tribes. Even if you as a Rasta cannot say I am a member of this tribe or of this tribe, it doesn't mean you're not a perfect Rastafarian. Because as we said, we are individuals, and when you don't feel like to be a member of this or that tribe, then my personal opinion is it doesn't matter as long as you got a pure heart and be faithful, then you're better on your own way than in a community among brethren and sisters. Just to force yourself in it to say, okay, now I'm a member of the 12th tribe or of Nyabingi or the Bobo Ashantis.
It is true. There are several orders and several ways to walk this way, but the faith in His Majesty is one. The order is a particular group of rules, a particular kind of discipline you establish in your life because you think it corresponds to your own nature. But it should not be something to exclude other people to partake the mystery of the King. You see, Rasta is something related to freedom and tolerance of the diversity. And you see, it is really necessary in this modern world. So it is a free movement, and our relation are based on reasoning, that it means to use our reason and our abilities of language to understand better the mysteries of the divinity and to get the common point that is always possible to get. So the diversity of this movement is the sign of its seriousness and its freedom, and it is the plurality we are preaching when we say kingdom, because kingdom is a plurality.
No, it won't be too long now. No, it won't be too long.
Okay, and now maybe a question from the woman here. What are the roles or the contribution of women in Rastafari?
Women have a very important position in the Rastafari movement, and sadly, many people think about Rastafarians that we try to downpress the woman, but this is something totally wrong. Maybe some they do, but I couldn't call them Rastafarians, because Haile Selassie and Empress Menen are the perfect example. And as a Rastafarian, my personal point of view is that we should follow Haile Selassie, how he treated his Empress. And he treated her in a total royal way. And this is how we Rastafarian brethren should treat our sisters, our empresses and princesses.
When we speak about the kingdom, we speak about a female symbol, because the first kingdom we see in our actual life is the womb of a mother which grows. And that is the first kingdom, because you see two beings organically unified in flesh. The woman is the earth, according to all the symbolical tradition of the earth religions, is the land who produces milk and honey naturally, is the material food of humanity. Our mother is our nurture, is our suckle, is our nature. So when we speak about Haile Selassie, we see also the female time of revelation, the Omega chapter. It is the earthical fulfillment, it is the royal fulfillment, then it is the glorification of flesh, and it is written that the flesh is the woman and the body is the woman. So Rastafari faith aims to stimulate and to establish the respect towards flesh and towards the beauty and dignity of woman. And it is the time also of full equalization between man and woman. It's the full equalization between Alpha and Omega within heaven and earth. And it is also the time when we contemplate the full mystery, the full circle mystery of the woman. We call our women, our mothers and our wives, we call them queen. And this is a pillar of our social custom.
On the Rasta flags, there is the symbol of the lion. What does it represent, and are there some other symbols as important, who have the same importance as the lion?
The lion represents Haile Selassie, conquering lion. And the flag represents the rainbow and other signs. There are many signs, but Haile Selassie is the sign, because he came in this world as the Prince of Peace, light of this world. And why we need other signs when he is the most important sign.
We know that Christ in his first coming, in his first priestical and heavenly spiritual coming, he manifested himself in the character of the lamb and sheep clothing. So in the opposition of these two symbols, of these two animal symbols, we can see the deep mystery of the equilibrium of the world history. It's the equilibrium between heaven and earth, between the priestly side of man and the kingly side of man. This is the time of the lion, because this is the time not of the animal who pacifically, peacefully offers himself for the slaughter, but this is the time of the powerful conquest, of the powerful conquering, of the victory. It's not the time of the priest who offered the sacrifice to call on the will of Jah, but this is the time of the king who decrees in power the will of Jah. So it is a deep meditation, and it is a circular meditation, the opposition between the lamb and the lion. There we see the first and the second coming of Christ, and many mysteries about the divine revelation on the earth.
Ethiopia is calling. Ethiopia. Rastafari and I.
Why Rasta can smoke and why they don't drink?
We see herb as the healing of the nation. It doesn't mean that you have to smoke, but for many brothers and sisters it helps to get into a deeper and higher meditation. But as I said, it's not a must that you have to smoke to be a Rasta. Some they smoke, some they don't. But herb was used hundreds and thousands of years ago. It was found in the grave of King Solomon, and this time the wisest king, and he was smoking the herb as well. And in many other traditions you will find also proofs that they were smoking ganja to reach higher heights. And this is why we smoke the herb, and it's also a way of purification when the smoke of ganja comes through the I-temple. But it's not a must, but sometimes it helps. It's natural, and alcohol, it makes you losing your mind, and surely you will do things next day you will regret what you have done. With herb, you won't hurt nobody. You will get in a deep, peaceful meditation. You will get closer to Jah, and you won't do any foolishness. This is why herb is accepted and highly appreciated among Rastafarians.
Friends, people that we know from way back when, to all the teachers of the dub school, enough respect, you know.
It is not totally true that we cannot drink. It is advised to avoid to approach the word of the flesh without wisdom and prudence. That is really clear, but we can do everything with a pure spirit and with a reason and with a moral control of moderation. When we say this, of course, I'm not saying that ganja smoke and alcohol are the same, because this is not true chemically, and the psychological and physical effects are really different. Ganja is a spiritual smoke, breath, power related to the spiritual elevation of man. And this is a very ancient tradition coming from Ethiopia and practiced by Ethiopian wise men, as we find the same in many other traditions, like Indian and Muslim ones. We remember that our body is our temple. For each temple we have incense to smoke. So if our temple is our body, what is the incense of our body? Our conception of ganja smoke is well described by that allegory. It is the I-shens of our body who help us to clarify our science and conscience.
And without him we can never survive. Give thanks and praise.
Unity is one important goal of Rasta. So how the Rasta does to unify all the different culture or people around the world?
We try to unite the Rastafarian brothers and sisters as far as possible. And you can go everywhere in this world, you will find Rastafarians. And in some countries they might have mansions, or they have a house where you can go, and they will have sabbatically service, or they have celebrations. For example, His Imperial Majesty's Earth Day, and you easily can be a part of the ceremony there. And more people will come together, and the community will get bigger and bigger as more as the people realize who is this King of Kings and Lord of Lords, the conquering Lion and tribe of Judah, Rastafari.
By the words that proceeded from Jah, the belly full but they're starving.
Haile Selassie is an image of freedom for I. He is the moral rule over the earth and over the whole variegated society. It is something about human rights and justice. So this is a common ground of reasoning for I. We do not desire a kingdom for Rasta only. We desire a peaceful society according to the teaching of His Majesty for everyone. For everyone. For us, this is the testimony of God Himself. He wants a modern, democratic, open society because this is the social science of the king, and this is a very important common ground for all the tribes of the earth. We remember that Haile Selassie is the original founder of the United Nations, of the Declaration of Human Rights. Ethiopia was the first land to fight Nazi fascism, and she was the first to acquire freedom again. The Ethiopian victory was the first victory of the Allies powers at that time against the Nazi fascism. So we are talking about the freedom we enjoy in this time. We are not talking about abstract things. We are talking about our actual freedom of our society. So this is our heritage and what we share with all the people, Rasta and different from Rasta.
It's growing, I know, it's the love of mine. Yes, it is showing, just can't hide.
Okay, and for an exterior point of view of Rasta, it seems to be that Jah is very, very, very important. And does a good Rasta dedicate his life to Jah?
I personally see myself as a humble servant of the Most High, Haile Selassie, the first Jah, Rastafari. And I would say that all or many brethren and sisters see themselves in the same position.
And I'm not afraid to say go away to hypocrites and parasites.
To be Rasta, it means, as I said, to follow His Majesty as I God and King. And Jah is His Majesty personally. Haile Selassie is Jah in flesh, according to I tradition, and we worship Him. So our life would be senseless if we will not devote all the aspects of our existence to the main energy who makes us live. So for us it's a simple way of walking and talking, to serve His Majesty and to experience the gift of His Majesty. Is not something theoretical or doctrinal, it's something living.
I lift up I head unto the hills, from whence cometh I help coming from the Lord God Jah Rastafari, over in the mountains of Zion. No weapon that's formed against I and I shall never prosper, no way. Them burning, Babylon bridges burning, and them falling, Babylon bridges falling. But how long they thought they'd reign over your people? How long they played their games, using the people? They use and abuse and accuse, and then they turn around refuse. Babylon's no good, no. Babylon's no good.
Man to man is so unjust. You don't even know who to trust. The arms of flesh will fail you, dare not trust your own. But listen this, yes, Jah will never let us down. No, He's always around, yeah. Your friend them say bye, call Pana Baba Janai.